All right. Okay, everybody. Thank you for tuning in once again. It is your boy right here. It is your friend Rob, Life Skills with Rob. You're tuned in yet again, okay? Live on YouTube, simulcasting on TikTok. We're going to have a really good positive discussion today. Shout out to everybody that's logged in on TikTok. Shout out to everybody in the YouTube space. Make sure you leave a comment down there. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Please make any suggestions to build the channel so we can all be positive in our dating experience. Okay, topic of discussion today, everybody on TikTok land. Shout out to Carla Roller for the follow on TikTok. Appreciate that. Topic of discussion. The overarching theme of tonight is me, myself, and I. Me, myself, and I. Now, the reason for this discussion tonight is as everybody's dealing with, everybody who's not married, maybe some people that are married, maybe some people that, are married trying to step out of their marriage. I don't know what y'all got going on. But the whole thing is we need to be talking about selfishness. Me, myself, and I. Now, when I was out today, I try to make it a point to talk to people. I try to make a point to have cordial dialogue with folks that I pass in my day to day life. And of course, searching for romantic relationships, getting better, healing myself. We had a previous discussion about being an addict, right? Being an emotional addict. We had a discussion about that. Make sure you go watch the content when it comes down to that. So in me making that practice to talk to women out in public. Now, I've used dating apps just like everybody else. Shout out to Miss Nelson on TikTok for supporting the channel. Appreciate that. So I made effort just like everybody else to be on dating apps, getting suggestions from friends, that kind of thing. But my practice right now is the cold approach. I know a lot of ladies are saying that's dead. A lot of men aren't doing the cold approach anymore, but I still like to practice it. I still think it's positive. I still think it's a way to make good dialogue with the opposite sex, right? So, in my cold approach, or before I step to this lady, I know there's a few schools of thought here. There's a few schools of thought here. I have my philosophy and my methods behind it. Other people, they suggested that maybe you need to offer a gift or what have you. But when I come to realize about the cold approach, is most of the time when it comes to men, it's the goal most of the time is to get the number. Get the number. Can I get your number? After I do my presentation, I peacock a little bit, whatever it is you do. The goal is to get the number. But when I was thinking about this, when I'm out in public checking out women, oh, she's cute. Oh, I like her dog. Oh, I like her outfit. How am I going to approach this woman? Thinking about how I'm going to achieve what I want. Did you ever consider what you're offering? The buzzword is, what do you bring to the table? And I think even before you get down the road in that kind of conversation, when it comes to the first date, fifth date, maybe some physical intimacy, maybe discussing. Now, most of the time, physical intimacy comes before a long-term discussion about being in a relationship. So when it comes down to even before all that discussion, maybe, just maybe, from the start, you should consider what you're going to offer this person, what you're going to exchange with this person in order to enjoy their time. What are you exchanging with this person in order to get their number? Far too often we're caught up in the me, myself, and I thing. It's about what I want. I want those butt cheeks. Right? Right? I You know what? I want company. I I'm going to dinner Saturday night, so I want you to go with me. Selfish. Selfish is the word here. So when it comes down to the ladies making a complaint about men not offering them things or the dinner or the 50, all this kind of stuff, absolutely, you're correct. Just like in turn, in turn, as a lady, you should also not be caught up in your selfishness. It goes both ways. It's a two-way street. As a lady, you should be well aware that in order to get a man's time or to enjoy the expense of a man's resources, you're supposed to be expending something as well. It's not just about what you want. It's not just about that you want to go to dinner. It's not about that let me fix my mic and make sure y'all can hear me, okay? So it's not about just the fact that you want to go on that vacation and you want to take pictures and you want to be on Instagram and you want to look cool for everybody, right? It's not just about you. What are you willing to exchange with this man in order to benefit from him? Big question. Far too often when it comes to us having these discussions, it's about me, I, what I'm going to get out of it. Shout out to everybody on TikTok. Shout out to Nelson. Y'all make sure you tap on the screen. Tap on the screen. Make sure you tap on the screen. Get them likes up. Share the live. Everybody that's joined in on TikTok, make sure you go ahead and have a seat, okay? Go ahead and pull out your piece of paper. Pull out a pencil. Make sure you're taking notes. Screenshot. It will be on the exam. All of this will be on the exam. So me, myself, and I, it's about selfishness. Are you moving into your relationships, your romantic endeavors, with the intention, that's number 3, we're going to get there, of just satisfying your selfish needs? I, me, myself, and I. So, with that being said, here's the next thing we need to be talking about. The next thing we're going to be talking about is, let me make sure y'all can hear me, okay? Shout out to everybody that's tuned in on TikTok. I see you. I see you doing your thing. Next thing we're going to be talking about is equity versus equality. Equity versus equality. Now, this is a big one. This is a big deal here. This is a big deal. Now, let's just define what both of those words are before we get confused. I don't want us to be confused when we're having this discussion, okay? I want us to all be on the same page. I want us to all be on the same page. And let me see what I can do here. I'm going to do my best to make sure for YouTube can see and everybody can see, okay? So unfortunately, I can't show my screen on TikTok at this moment. But don't worry, we're going to get there. We're going to make it work for everybody when we're doing this simulcast thing. So I'm on Google. Everybody got access to Google, right? So on Google Dictionary, Oxford Languages, equality. Equality is the state of being equal, especially in status, rights, and opportunities. In a sentence, it's stated as an organization aiming to promote racial equality, fairness, impartiality, justness, even-handedness, right? So, let's define equity. Let's define equity. So, equitable is the quality of being fair and impartial. The value of the shares issued by a company. The value. So what we tend to miss between those two words. I know a lot of people, when you're talking about relationships, you're talking about dating, you're talking about marriage. I know I've seen a lot of discussion talking about 50-50, this and that. The whole thing is, when it comes to romantic relationships, and if we got two people that are following the 3 B's and the triple D's, for those who don't know, the 3 B's method for the ladies is the quiet and attentive and helpful. Be quiet, be attentive, be helpful. And then for the men, it's discipline, directive, and dominant. And in practical application, both of these traits, these groups of traits, work very well together when it comes to romantic relationship. They work extremely well together. Okay. Big up to everybody that's on TikTok. I see y'all people joining in. Make sure you share the live. Share the live to at least 5 people. All you got to do is tap on the screen, share, tap it 5 times. First 5 people, share the live. That's all you got to do, and tap on the screen. So shout out everybody that's tuned in. So if you're just jumping in, once again, equality and equity. Now, what we're talking about when it comes to romantic relationships, and like I said, I'm never going to be picking on people unless I'm going to make myself involved. I'm the kind of person, personally, where, thank you, I appreciate that, and make sure you're tapping on the screen. I'm the kind of person where I like equitable relationships. Now, like I said, we're talking about relationships here. We're talking about dating, romance, emotions. I don't mind paying for dates. If we're going to talk about terms of the financial commitment that it is to date. Things cost money. We do understand that. When I go out to eat, far as I know, it's not free. Far as I know, it's not free. I mean, a couple of times you might can skate by, but most of the time you got to pay for something. So when it comes down to being equitable, how I equate equitability in me spending my resources is a woman giving me a good attitude, giving me good company. And I also had this as one of my principles, right? Am I buying her time or am I sharing her company? I would really like to share her company, but I will make the commitment to pay for the environment that we're in, to fund that environment that we're spending in, because it's just something I like to do. It's a courtesy to her. So if we're to find a first date, let's say we're on a first date with young lady on TikTok, Miss Vada. If we're on a first date and I want to date you, and I say, oh, well, let's go. One place I like to go, let's go skating. Let's go to the skating rink. Skating rink is a little bit costly. I'm going to be honest. Skating rink is a little bit costly for rentals. It used to be $5 and you can skate all night. Now it's like $15-$20 to go to a skating rink, right? So I got to pay for me, got to pay for you. That's already $40 just to get in the door. Not to mention we're gonna be skating maybe an hour, 2 hours. Just reasonably, you want to have something to eat. Maybe get a soda, a slice of pizza, French fries. I don't know, a corn dog. Not the healthiest choices, but it's a date. Let's just have fun a little bit, right? So I'll make the commitment. Big up to Sergi for joining. Appreciate that. Somebody asking me, can I skate? Of course, I can skate. Yes. So if I invited you on a skating date, I'll show you how to skate. We'll enjoy ourselves, right? So let's talk about equity versus equality. So if I was focused on equality, right, I would suggest, hey, let's be fair here. Skating is $20. It's $20. It's 15 to get in, 5 for the rental, right? So if we're sharing each other's company, and I want things to be in equality, I would say, okay, you pay for yours. Go Dutch. 50-50, right? 50-50. You pay for your entry, I pay for mine. When we go to the snack bar, I'll pay for my pizza and fries. You pay for your pizza and fries, and everybody's cool. We're still enjoying ourselves because we're equal in this. Justly equal, fair. So if I'm expected now on the flip side, that's equality now. That's equality. 50-50 down the line. I got money, you got money, you pay, I pay. Equality. Equitable when it comes down to romantic relationship would be I pay for the date, I pay for the experience, or even flip it around. She pays for the experience if you want to go that way, and me being equitable should be on my best behavior during that date. I should be a very, very, very interesting and open and intriguing person on that date to make up for their financial commitment. They committed something, I have to commit something to the night. So when it comes down to romantic relationships, I really believe that that's what. Now let's go back. When it comes down to making that financial commitment or funding the atmosphere or making the tangible contribution to the evening, right? What men expect from our ladies, if they're following the 3 B's, is being quiet, being attentive, being helpful, friendly, be gracious, be courteous to the staff, ask me if I need anything. That's equitable. The feelings that I get from making that commitment are what I want. And I think when we're having this discussion, a lot of us seem to be confused in that department. Like I said, first point was me, myself, and I. It's an era of selfishness when it comes to dating, right? And you can't carry that. You can't be like that. You can't be selfish when you date. You can't say I don't need no man, but then want to go on a date. You can't say I don't need these girls, but then still be dating. It's not going to make any sense. So pause real quick. Shout out to Vada, Sergi, Jedi on here. Shout out to Queen Hayes and Cynthia Denise. Big up to y'all tuning in. Make sure you tap on the screen. Make sure you share the live. Appreciate it. So, equality versus equity. Ask yourself those questions. If you're not focused on, how you doing? So, if you're not focused on being selfish, you definitely should consider which of these you want to be. Do you want to have equality, or do you want to be equitable? Most of the time, I think women would choose to be equitable when it comes down to our modern relationships. Yes, I understand feminism is in place. I do understand that you're empowered, and I do understand that ladies are independent and ladies can do for themselves. But when it comes down to romantic relationships, I really do believe that most women would rather choose to be equitable in a relationship than have a sense of being equal in a relationship. Choose equality. You can when it comes down to equality, you can do a lot less, and the value, right? So we talk about equality means the value of shares. The value can be extended way past what you can do from being equal. Now, somebody asked a question on TikTok, says equality. Says reaching equal outcomes. However, are we willing to allow the other side the desired outcome? Absolutely. So, like I said, that goes back to point number one: me, myself, and I. Me, myself, and I. Are you just focused on you going to dinner and you getting a free meal and you taking pictures for Instagram? And like I said, we're at the skating rink now. So are you just focused on being cute on the skates and taking pictures in front of neon signs so you can show your girlfriends how you got over on this guy and he paid, and and then after the date you're gonna meet up with the next guy because you're going out drinking? Like, you got to understand, what are you focused on? Is he getting Is he getting what he wants? You can't just be on your own desires. It's not just about what you want to get. What are you going to offer to the man? And then, like I said, not just about the women. As a man, you want her number. You want her beauty. You want to be around. You want to be in her presence. Maybe you want to learn about who she is as a person. Maybe you want to learn about who she is as a person. But what are you going to commit to get that time? Just as much as she has a right to reserve her time and her energy. She does have that right. So you can't be so foolish to just think that a woman is just supposed to give herself to you for nothing. You got to be clear. So you need to assess: are you being selfish in your pursuit for this relationship, right? Then after you assess your selfishness, you deal with me, myself, and I. Then you can decide, okay, do I plan to be equal in this relationship? Shout out to Nova for tuning in on TikTok. So you got to ask yourself, do you plan to be equal in this relationship? Or do you plan to be equitable in this relationship? Because men thrive. Men who follow, like I said, we always have a baseline. Men who follow the triple D's in being disciplined, directive, and dominant benefit a lot more from your equity than you being equal to them. They don't mind. They don't mind. So far everybody's clear on that. Everybody's clear, and I truly believe, if we're, like I said, there's always a baseline. It's never my opinion. I already created the baseline. A man who's disciplined, directive, and dominant will much rather benefit from your equitability to him. Now, a lady that's quiet, being attentive, and being helpful, I'm pretty sure that even in that definition, you're support. Support. Let's define that so we're all clear. So shout out to Sergi. I'm glad y'all like to listen. Make sure you're writing this stuff down. Get out a notebook. Get your composition book. Get your second phone you use for work. Write this stuff down, please. It's gonna help you out. It's truly gonna help you. I did the work so you don't have to. I'm doing the work so you don't have to. Okay. So make sure you're tapping on that screen on TikTok. Make sure you this will be posted on YouTube. If you do request to be a guest, you will be recorded for YouTube, okay? If you have any questions. Sergi is okay, that's why Sergi says it makes some sense. Intellectual renegade, absolutely. I like that. So Ms. Nelson just joined in on TikTok. So anyway, let's move forward. We're doing pretty good today, okay? I'm glad everybody paying attention. So first point was me, myself, and I. Recognize you do have desires, but when it comes to a romantic relationship, you need to really assess your level of selfishness. And then if you are selfish, now you need to be selfless. Being selfless is very important in relationships. Concerned, so just to define selfless, concerned more with the needs and wishes of others. When you get into a relationship, you become selfless. You concern yourself with what my partner wants. What does she want? What does he want? How can I fulfill his desires? How can I fulfill her desires? Selflessness is important. No matter what kind of relationship you want to be in. So let's keep it real. Even if we're not talking about getting married and walking down the aisle in white dresses and babies, even if you just want to hook up, even if you just want to clap them cheeks, even if you just want to, for the ladies, if you want to touch that meat, you got to realize that he got to feel just as good as you want to feel. Selflessness. Any kind of relationship you want to define, it works out well for you. So, equality versus equity, we already talked about that pretty intensively. Now, when it comes down to both of those points, me, myself, and I, equality and equity, now we're talking about intent. Now, intention ties all that together. The intention ties all of those things together. Thank you so much for the likes on TikTok. Appreciate you. Even though the views are low on TikTok, that's okay. I understand the topic is the conversation that we're having right now pretty highbrow. Not quite the thing to put on TikTok, but that's okay. We're going to check it out on YouTube. The number's going to go crazy on YouTube, so don't worry. So number 3 is intention. Let's define intention. I'm always going to give a definition. I'm just going to talk out of my winky hole. So intention is a thing intended, an aim or plan, the healing process of a wound. Ooh. Okay, the healing process of a wound, intention. Okay, that falls in line with our previous discussion about being an addict, right? So let's take it a step further and see what else we can get. So in intention, we already defined that. Intentionality is the fact of being deliberate or purposeful. In philosophy, it's the quality of mental states. Examples are thoughts, beliefs, desires, hopes that consist in their being directed towards some object or state of affairs. So when it comes down to your intention, very important. Before you, as a man, before you step to that girl, before you do that, before you send that text, before you hitting them DMs, I don't know, some people do Snapchat. Before you send that Snapchat, I don't know, picture, story, I'm not a social media person. You need to charge it with intent. I read a book. Let me make sure I get the title of the book for you, and it will be in the YouTube description, okay? Let me go ahead and... Yep. Oh, there it is. So, I read a book, Deepak Chopra, 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. And then let me look up this other book I read. I think it was Intentionality. It's over here on the shelf, but I don't want to interrupt right now. But I read another book by Deepak Chopra about intentionality. So I think your best bet, especially as a man, as a man, is to charge up your interactions with women with some form of intentionality. And as always, the baseline is already set. I don't have to make it up every time. The baseline is set. If you're a man who's disciplined, directive, and dominant, in your discipline, you should be charging all of your interactions with people with it, some idea of intentionality. Before you step to that girl, you need to have an intent. Even if you don't know an outcome, you need to have an intent. Are you coming to that woman with good intentions? Or are you coming to that woman with bad intentions? Whatever you decide. I'm not, like I said, I'm not the judge and jury on this, because it's a plethora of different kind of relationships you can have with the opposite sex. But intentionality, your truthfulness to yourself, right, is going to help shift that outcome, or better yet, it's going to eliminate any confusion when it comes to what are we questions, where are we going, I don't know how you feel questions. Charge up your interactions with that intent. And then same thing for the ladies. A lot of our ladies right now, when it comes down to modern relationships and how things are flowing on all these blogs and podcasts and everything like that, it seems like the intent is just negative. The intent, the purpose, right? Let me be clear. The deliberate or purposeful. The purpose of dating is to make his pockets hurt. Get everything you can out of him while giving nothing. I don't care about your feelings. I don't care about being equal. I don't care about being equitable. I just want to suck as much out of you as I can, so that way I don't give up any ground. I don't lose anything. And that's negative. Are there people out there that thrive on that? Yeah, of course. But if that other person isn't in alignment with your intention, then that makes it wrong. I know there's all manner of relationships out there. I get it. I understand. Whoever you are watching this, I understand. It's a whole bunch of ways you can have a relationship. But if the opposite party isn't in alignment with your intention, if they're not flowing with your intention, then it's wrong. It's an imbalanced relationship. It's an abusive relationship. It's a manipulative relationship. That's just what it is. And maybe we're not all guilty of it. I know I am. I'm guilty of it. Like I said, when we had our previous discussion, are you an addict? Yes, I'm an addict. Yes, I'm an addict. I'm guilty of taking advantage of people. Yes. I'm guilty of being selfish in my desires when it comes to my relationships. Yes. Yes, I am. All of us at some time or another have been guilty of abusing somebody else's trust. Trying to get some definitions for y'all so we all on the same page. But anyway, we're all guilty of making those mistakes. And just so you know, I know the hot buzz right now is talking about what's going on in pop culture when it comes down to the remarks made by certain celebrities and what's going on. But you know what I discovered? I went to a very, very special, and some would describe it as a sacred place. I went to a museum, and this museum was given a presentation about some historical events that happened, some vicious events that happened to a certain group of people. And in this museum, they had chambers where people lost their lives. They had articles of clothing that people wore that was stripped from them when they did this. And in one of the rooms, there was 2 doors. And you had to ask yourself the question. You had to ask yourself before you decided to literally push yourself to one door or the other. Am I prejudiced? Which is meaning you're a bad person. In our minds, are you a bad person or are you a good person? Are you not racist? Are you not prejudiced? And the crazy part is when you try to push yourself through the door that says I'm not prejudiced, or I believe it said I'm not racist, the door wouldn't open. No matter how hard you push, the door would not open. And if you're with a group of people, you start to look around at them. And you ask the tour guide, "Hey, I think something's wrong in the room. Like the doors, is this door supposed to be locked?" You're looking around, everybody's confused, They push you out the way. They try to push through the door and the door won't open. And eventually, after a few minutes, the tour guide tells you, well, the door is not going to open because all of us possess prejudice. All of us are guilty of prejudice. If you don't know what prejudice means, preconceived opinion that is not based on reason or actual experience. So the reason I said that is because when it comes down to our dating lives, we exact our prejudice against other people. So when it comes down to you being selfish, like I said, previous discussion, are you an addict? Are you addicted to your bad decisions? You're exacting a prejudice against your romantic partner. You have an opinion about your romantic partner based on past hurt. And all of us are guilty of it. So that's why I defined it that way. Thank you, Frank. Who is this? Franklin on TikTok. Shout out to you. I'm sorry, excuse me. Frank Larkin. Big up to Frank Larkin on TikTok for the follow. Appreciate you. Unfortunately, we can't get the chat from TikTok to YouTube, but that's okay. That's okay. We're still gonna get it moving. Okay, shout out to we got one person on the YouTube. They figured it out. Thank you so much. All right. Thank you. So, in turn, we've been talking for a while now. It says we got a few people on TikTok. I know we had a couple people ask some questions. Shout out to 310 Harlan, Juicy Skittles, let's see, Jedi. Shout out to Vada, Zola. Big up to Miss Nelson. Appreciate that for everybody joining in. So, T to God, follow the host. Big up to you. Big up to you on TikTok. So, in summary, when it comes down to our dating lives, just to sum it all up for everybody just tuned in, are you being selfish? Are you practicing being selfless in your relationships? Then it comes to equality versus equity. Make the decision. Are you the kind of person that you like to go Dutch? Or when it comes to you making that decision about going Dutch or going 50-50, is it because of a prejudice that you have with experiences you had before? When it comes down to you being 50-50 and searching for being equal, are you caught up in a prejudice? Did somebody take advantage of your generosity before? And then also when it comes down to you being an equitable partner, don't have nobody take you on a trip or pay for 10 dates in a row, and all you did the whole time for those 10 dates that last 3 months was give them a pat on the back. That's not equity. That's not equity. That value does not equate. And I'm really trying my best, my hardest to think at what level of relationship that would make sense. And even at the far extreme of a relationship that's unequally balanced like that, it still wouldn't be equitable. If a man takes you on 10 dates and all you did was give him a pat on the back and simply say thank you, that's not equity. That's not adding up. Big up to Shelly, the life coach just joined in. Miss Shelly, thank you for being here. Just so Miss Shelly knows, maybe she'll be my guest tonight. That would be great if Miss Shelly would be my guest tonight. I do need a guest. So Miss Shelly, if you want to come on in here and have any questions, I appreciate it. Maybe we can have you come in here and hopefully you can agree with some of the things I'm talking about tonight. Or I'm doing a little summary. Um, Miss Shelley, she presents herself as a life coach. I don't know her background. Oh, she's very busy. That's fine, Miss Shelley. So thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you for tuning in. So, just to sum up, so far, intentionality. What is your purpose for dating? What is your purpose for dating? When it comes down to your intent, ask yourself that kind of question. Well, since maybe I can't get a, let me see. Okay, Vada. Okay, we got one person that wants to be a guest. Alrighty, one moment. Let me make sure we can hear you. Okay,
All right,
can you hear me?
I can.
All right.
So, question. Well, first, how are you?
Hold on. I am doing extremely well. How are you, Miss?
I'm okay, thanks.
All
Uh,
right, we can hear you
Thanks
good.
for having me.
All right. So, what question do you have? Did you were you here for the discussion?
I was. And so I think my first question is, do you believe that people should be honest upfront about their intentions or what they're looking for?
Do I believe that people should be honest and upfront?
Yes, like make the intentions clear.
Absolutely. That's the third bullet point tonight was intentionality. That's what that word stands for. So if we're gonna simplify it just a little bit, intentionality is basically that as we define it when we talk about modern relationships and just having just regular dialogue, being honest. Don't waste my time. Intentionality translates to don't waste my time when you talk about dating apps and how we interact with each other. So yeah, when women say don't waste my time, that's exactly I believe what they mean. Come approach me with intent and approach me
Right.
with some purpose.
Yeah, like tell me what you're looking for and let me decide if that's what I want. Like,
Right.
I don't think we should just be shooting from the hip.
Right. Shooting from the hip is as a man, like I said, we already have a baseline. We already have a baseline. As a man, if you're disciplined, directive, and dominant, if you've done your work to be a quality man, you should already be moving with some kind of intention. You shouldn't be wasting anybody's time because you have a charged intent. You have a purpose. If I'm approaching you as a man in the street, cold calling, whatever, I have an intention on what I want to do for you, what I want to do for you, and what I want us to do together in order to benefit from your company. As a lady, when you say don't waste my time, I think for most women, you should focus on being equitable. It all works together. As a woman, if you're practicing being helpful, attentive, and you're being quiet or being friendly, right? Then you definitely should be very focused on what you plan to give to a man in order to benefit from his resourcing, in order to benefit from his purpose.
So, wait, let's talk about quiet, right? Because I'm a talker. I can't shut up, but I'm a talker, but not like aimless rambling. I enjoy good conversation.
It's nothing wrong. And let me go ahead and define that. So just to be clear, when you see the three B's here, for everybody doesn't know yet, that's just a method I've made up for ladies who want to be with well intended, and equitably equitably focused men. Most of those men just want you to be quiet, be attentive, and be helpful. When it comes down to being quiet, if you're a talker, that's okay to talk. It's nothing wrong with talking. It's nothing wrong with being funny. Nothing wrong with having a personality. Nothing wrong with being big. What quiet defines as is you don't approach a man in a kind of a aggressive way. you want to be a cool, friendly person. You shouldn't be trying to be antagonize a man, especially not one that you respect. If you do respect him at all, so
I,
the
if I'm
quietness
honest, I
is
don't believe that women will um, antagonize a man that they respect.
oh yeah. I know it might not happen in your personal life, but women antagonize men all the time.
That they respect. I know they antagonize men.
It's just a certain way you should do it. Just like that. Just like we like to make the comparison. Well, I like to make a comparison to having a job. If you have a
Hmm.
problem at work, you don't just step in your boss face and start wagging your finger and barking in his face, right? Or her face.
And not if you want your job.
Right. You have a respect for the person that's managing the team or the owner of the business or your partner in the business. You come to them in a way that's respectful, that's clear. You can still express your feelings, but you don't want to approach them in a way that's basically like what I want to say, like aggressive. Basically, it's a little bit softer word I can choose, but aggressive the word I have right now.
I get it. I can get it. So we had a discussion earlier, and it kind of pivots a bit, but there was a video that said women are only masculine with weak men.
You said there's a video that says
And
women are only masculine with weak men.
uh huh,
Now,
that's
of
what it said.
of course, now if we're gonna now let's go ahead. Let's get into it, right? Why not? We having a discussion, just real quick. Let's go ahead and define masculinity. So, in being masculinity says qualities or attributes regarded as characteristics of men.
Hmm.
So, similar manliness, strength, that kind of thing. So, in some might say like a more dominant kind of position. Now, what I've come to find out is if a woman is, like I said, it's already defined here. If she's out of frame of being helpful and attentive and quiet, and she's being the masculine one, she's the qualities of what we expect a man to be, which is dominant, disciplined, and directive. Then of course, the man is it flip flops. The man is in the supportive position when she might want him to be in the leadership role. So yeah, if a man isn't exuding qualities that are greater than hers in a more dominant position, a more superior position than hers, then yeah, that makes complete sense. She's gonna feel uh like she's in a masculine role.
Let me say I did. I don't like it. Not as far as that, but it was definitely the breadwinner and like the decision maker, the planner, and the problem solver. I
Mm-hmm.
don't like it.
Did you like that?
No, I ain't like it at all.
Okay. So uh like I said, there's all manner of relationships out there. I'm not just saying that you, in particular, with you sharing that you can't be strong, you can't uh have a job or pay the bills or whatever was going on in a relationship, but it's the fact that you didn't like it, and in turn, I'm going to have to ask: did you want the man to do more of that? Did you want the man to be more of the decision maker? Did you want the man to be more of in
I
that
did.
authoritative leadership role?
I did.
Right. Okay. So it goes to show that as a woman, even though you are like we talk about, you're talkative, you're powerful, you're strong, you still want somebody that's stronger than you. You would have rather a man be more decisive than you. Is that correct?
Absolutely. I think um, someone said it. I've heard like someone say like again that like strong women need weak men. And I don't agree. I think you need a stronger man because
Can you repeat
submission
that
is
again?
just yielding to a superior force.
Can you repeat the first part you said again?
So I've heard that like strong women need weak men.
You heard that strong women need weak men?
That's what they say. I agree.
Well, as I said, like I said, I'm the kind of person that's open minded, right? I'm open to all the dynamics that's possible when it comes to a relationship. It all depends on your intent. It all depends on the intent. If like you said, if you're the woman who is strong, who is dominant, who is that forceful person, and you don't like the position, then you're not meant for a weak man because you don't want a weak man. You want a man that's more forceful, that's more dominant than she would be. So you're not meant for a weak man if you don't want a weak man. You just need to find a man that's stronger than you are. Are you still there?
Yeah, sorry, technical difficulty. I can agree with that. I think more so it was just that there was no other option. Like if I do not step into this role, like it will not happen.
Okay, but and then that goes back to the point. What was the intention? If did you know when it comes down to that situation, if a woman is stronger and she's with a weaker man, what was your intent?
Well, no, so I don't think that's the way he presented it first. And it wasn't like, oh, you're good for me. Like, let me step in. It was literally not getting done.
Hmm. Well, when it comes down to things not getting done, then he wasn't being intentional. He didn't
I
pres
agree.
he didn't present you with any intent. He didn't present you with any purpose.
Well,
So I would say it's like I've said before. It's not your fault that you had to step up because that's just survival. I can't blame it on you and for you being out of place. You had to survive, or you needed to make sure your relationship was in a certain position. So you had to step up and do the things that he wasn't doing because he didn't have any intention.
so I've taken time, 3 years, to detox and kind of learn about myself and men.
Yeah, that's very positive. And as I discussed tonight, with that detox, hopefully you've made some decisions to decide if you're still selfish or you're interested in being selfless, how interested you are in being an equal partner or equitable partner, and what's your intent.
I think the goal should always be equity because so we're not the same. We need different things out of a relationship,
Of
but
course.
everyone should get what they need.
Yeah, that makes great sense. As I said before, now intention is very important. Once you decide, okay, well, I don't want to be selfish anymore. I want to be more selfless. I want to focus on what my partner wants. I want to be equitable, but the equitability needs to make sense. The value you're giving him needs to make sense. So for
Hmm.
for for a woman, I know the whole talk is I want a man to pay my bills and I want a man to get my nails done, or I want a man to take me to dinner 2 3 times a week, or I want a man to fly me to, I don't know, Wisconsin and look at the snow. I don't know what the woman wants, whatever it is. But if a man is doing all that and all you got to say to him is thank you, that's not an equitable relationship. You're not giving him a a equitable value. You're not giving him any comparable value to what he's doing for you.
Hmm. Do you so believe that the value of whatever you're giving is set by the person that buys it, quote unquote, you know?
It
So,
is. It is. That's true. That's true. That's true. Now, you got to think about what kind of a dynamic you're talking about. If we're talking about a healthy relationship where the baseline is already displayed here on TikTok, the three B's and the triple D's, that man that's disciplined, directive, and dominant. I don't. I mean, it could be, but I'm pretty sure if he's giving you all those things, a thank you card is that's not the kind of a quality he's looking for.
I agree. What specifically do you believe equitable trade looks like?
It it's like like I've said, there's so many different dynamics in relationship. There is a possibility, like people like to say, that it is possible that there's a man somewhere out in the world that wants to fly you around the world and put you in a mansion and buy you a bag and buy you shoes and get your nails done every 2 days, and all he wants is a pat on the back. It's a possibility that that man is out there. It's very possible. But when it comes down to what's real and what's practical, I would say what most men deem as equitable is your ability to be attentive and helpful. To do as he asks. If he asks of you for some help, hey baby, I don't know, wash the dishes, go pick up my dry cleaning. Um, hey, I got this project. Do you know how to use Excel? Hey, uh, something smart. I don't know, degree. Hey, you're an accountant, right? Can you work on this Excel spreadsheet? Can you build me a new Excel spreadsheet? Or hey, can't you draw? I got a buddy that's a graphic designer. I know you get paid $100,000 a year to do this, but it would be awesome if you can do this graphic design for my buddy. That kind of thing.
Okay.
So it don't always got to. So I know, as men we like to always make the comparison to home care, right? But it don't have to just be home care. It don't have to just be cooking and cleaning. It can be a lot larger and more important than that.
I agree.
That's what
Yeah.
I see as
That,
equitable. If we talk
mhm.
about personal, I believe that's very equitable. For me, I'm a maybe I say, oh, hey, I got this pattern I saw at this. You're a seamstress. I saw this really cool pattern. Can you make me a shirt? Can you sew me a shirt? And then in return for you being equitable and sewing me that shirt, I give you a value and say, hey, we're going. I'm going to pay you to get your nails done, and we're going to Vegas this weekend. It was equitable to me that you sold me a shirt, so I'm going to give you something in return that's uh, equivalent value.
Because you found value in what was done for you.
Right.
Right. Okay.
Is that something that we can agree on?
100%.
Yeah, and I think
I
that
don't think that we should take without it.
absolutely, and I think with us having this sensible dialogue the way we're having it, it makes a lot more sense than just saying for a man saying, "Oh well, what do you bring to the table?" Or you not doing this, you not doing that, and you just always asking me for stuff. I want you to be equitable.
I think the best part is that like you're giving and kind of shaping this thing where I feel like we were told what a woman should be often, but not the man that you should be that for.
Mm,
And so you're
absolutely.
kind of shaping that for me.
Right. Absolutely. And that's the reason. And I know everybody's having their discussion. Everybody's making their podcasts, making their blogs, but nobody's being clear. Nobody's really teaching anything. And I feel like as a lady, that's the man you should be doing that for. That's true. That's your baseline. A purposeful man. A man who has some intent for you. And in his intent for you, he has some standards. He has a set of values that he deems equitable. And if you're not in alignment with performing those duties or performing for him like he's going to perform for you, then you're not right for him, and vice versa. If you're the kind of woman who goes all out for her man and you have that ability and he's not being equitable to you, then you're not fit for that man. You're not, or he's not fit for you.
I think that happens often, and it may happen on a different level. Um, Women kind of, in addition to whatever provisions they like, they have an emotional quota that needs to be filled.
Right.
And I think that's the hard part, especially for men, you know.
I I can agree to that. Yes. Absolutely. Men do miss out on that. We've seen that in pop culture. Rich men miss out on marriages and relationships all the time because they forget the emotional component. They forget the emotional work. They forget the hugs and the kisses and the cute cards and back rubs and foot rubs, not just dinner and buying you bags. So that's true. Men do need to be more disciplined when it comes to paying attention to that kind of thing.
Mhm. But also on the other side, I believe that, and a lot of them disagree, but your partner should be your safe space.
You said a
Like
partner
you
should be a
should not
safe
have
space.
to, yeah, you shouldn't have to keep your armor on.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. That's part of being equitable. Men do pay for that trait. When a man is in a relationship, if he's being in his purpose, most of the time that's part of the deal that he wants from a lady. He wants to take off his armor. He wants a lady that's soft and quiet and attentive and helpful. So that way, when he comes after a long day of being disciplined and dominant and directing other people, he wants to be at rest. He wants to be at rest. He wants to be able to take off his armor, put down his sword, his proverbial sword, uh, maybe his real sword, hammer, so that way he can rest.
I agree.
Perfect. I'm glad you came on here and helped us to highlight exactly what we talked about tonight. I'm gonna do my best to try to get a guest every time. I know it's difficult, but we're gonna make it happen.
I appreciate you having
Absolutely, and please stick around. Make sure you share the live, and make sure you subscribe on YouTube as well. I keep forgetting I'm live streaming on YouTube, but I'm on YouTube as well. Okay.
me. Okay, I will.
All right. You have a good night.
You too. Bye.
All right, great guest. We're having a good time. So I'm proud of that. Pretty sure hopefully it's gonna reach the right audience. We've had a very, very positive discussion. Shout out to everybody that's tuned in. Big up to everybody on TikTok. Big up to everybody in the YouTube world. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share, repost, screen grab, whatever you got to do. Get the message out. I'm gonna go ahead and shut it down on YouTube. I'm gonna stay on TikTok for a little bit longer. So if you're in YouTube land, wherever this gets posted, make sure you go over to TikTok. Make sure you hit me up in the messages.